What if I told you that beneath the shifting sands of Egypt, there lies a structure so vast that even the Great Pyramids would seem small beside it? Sounds like an exaggeration, doesn't it? But these are not my words. They come from the most respected historians of the ancient world. According to them, there once existed a marvel so massive that not the temples, not the pyramids, not even the greatest works of Rome could compare to it. That structure was the Hawara Labyrinth. And according to the legends, this labyrinth was more than just stone corridors. It may have preserved the traces of humanity's earliest memory, what the Egyptians called Zep Tepi, the first time, a distant age, possibly from before the Great Flood. But here is the real question. If such a structure truly existed, why hasn't it been fully excavated? Why, despite modern technology pointing to something massive beneath the surface, has this discovery remained silent? I know, it sounds like a conspiracy, but this time the story isn't built on speculation alone. There are ancient accounts, there are radar scans, and there is one question that remains unanswered. What is really buried beneath the Hawara Labyrinth? Welcome to the Wisdom Quest. 80 kilometers south of Cairo, on the edge of the Fayoum Oasis, lies a place that today looks like nothing more than ruins. Dust, scattered stones, and silence. But according to ancient sources, beneath that very surface once stood the most extraordinary structure ever built. This wasn't just a myth. The Greek historian Herodotus saw it with his own eyes in the 5th century BC. He claimed that if all the grand works of the Greeks were gathered together, they would pale in comparison to this labyrinth. He even suggested the pyramids themselves were less impressive. Centuries later, the geographer Strabo described the same structure in remarkably similar terms. This is not just a legend, it is a repeating testimony across time. Herodotus wrote of 3,000 rooms, half above ground and half below. But the most intriguing part was underground. Herodotus was forbidden from entering the subterranean levels. The priests were firm. Those chambers contained the tombs of the first kings and the sacred crocodiles. But that phrase, the first kings, points directly to the era of Zep Tepi, a time before recorded history. So, what was really down there? Just tombs or something far older? Centuries passed, and Hawara was forgotten. Then, in 1888, the pioneer Flinders Petrie arrived. He found a massive stone platform, huge, monumental. Petrie interpreted it as a foundation and concluded the labyrinth had been dismantled. But what if he was wrong? What if that surface wasn't a foundation, but a roof? In 2008, Louis Decordier revisited that idea. Using ground-penetrating radar, his team scanned the area. The results were striking. 12 meters below the surface, they detected massive stone walls, organized, structured, corridors, rooms, a vast underground complex. In other words, the labyrinth might still be there. But just as things were getting interesting, the work stopped. The permits were revoked. The discovery was silenced. One of the key figures behind this decision was Zahi Hawass. Hawass is a man whose name is rarely mentioned without sparking a heated debate. While he was the longtime gatekeeper of the pharaohs, he has also been a figure of deep-seated controversy and persistent scandals. Known for his iron-fisted control over Egyptian archaeology, critics argue that he didn't just manage the sites, he owned the narrative. To his detractors, he is more of a politician than a scientist, a man who has often been accused of suppressing findings that don't fit the official history. The official reason for halting the Hawara excavation was national security. But in the shadow of Hawass's controversial reputation, skeptics ask a far more troubling question. Was he protecting the history of Egypt, or was he burying a truth that would expose the cracks in the established story? The story of Hawara is not just about archaeology. It is about how we understand our past. Troy was once dismissed as myth. It was real. Göbekli Tepe changed everything we knew about civilization. Maybe Hawara is the same. Maybe the issue isn't the absence of evidence, but how far we are allowed to follow it. Today, the greatest threat to Hawara is time. Rising groundwater is slowly destroying what lies beneath. Stone is dissolving. Structures are weakening. And perhaps the real tragedy is not that we don't know what's inside, but that we may never find out. Truth has a strange nature. It can be buried, it can be delayed, but it can never be truly destroyed. One day, it finds its way back to the light. The question is, when that moment comes, will we be ready to accept it? Thank you for watching The Wisdom Quest. Stay curious and never lose the trail of truth. Quest was always you.